All right, so thank you for tuning in and chomping at the bit. I'm Kyle Edwards. This episode, I'm going to talk about conference championship, the two games that happened this past weekend. Look at the matchups, kind of, let you know what I noticed from the games. Also, there's, a couple of interesting narratives I want to, bring to you guys, let you know my thoughts on it. So I'll work that into the breakdown of both games. Then, of course, we will know who's in the Super Bowl. I won't break that matchup down because we have a week and a half still until the actual game happens. So that will be pushed off till next week. But let's go ahead, take a look at these two games and see if, conference championships Sunday lived up to divisional round weekend, which was just exciting all around. So go ahead, look at this first game. Bengals, Chiefs. I'm sure most of you had this as your AFC title game before the season started. But, we got the upstart Cinderella team in Cincinnati, the Bengals, going to Kansas City to face the perennial Super Bowl contender, at least for the past 4 years, Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is a game that the Chiefs, 7-point favorite. So, for a conference championship, that's a pretty good, point line. So, Bengals come into this one, playing free, loose, because, if they win, great. If the Bengals lose, then people, look at them as a team that's laying in wait and will be excited to see what they have next year. So, pressure in this one's on the Chiefs, especially since the Chiefs, lost in the Super Bowl last year to the Bucs. With all the accolades put on Patrick Mahomes, people calling him the baby GOAT and all that. So this is their fourth straight AFC title game. They are 2-1 at this point. Yeah, because they won a Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl, and then lost in this game to the Patriots a couple of years ago. So 2-1 in their past three, with the fourth one coming this past weekend. Now, this game, from the start, it looked like the Chiefs were in complete control of it as they jumped out to an early lead. They got the first score, the first touchdown of the game. Then after one, they were up 7-3. The Bengals looked like, the stage might have been too big for them, because offensively they were having struggles with protecting Burrow, getting the running game going, and all that. Then you move to the second quarter. The Chiefs put up 14 points pretty easily in the quarter. Bengals did get a touchdown in there. But what I want to key in on was at the end of the second quarter, there was a sequence with the Chiefs with the ball in the red zone down near the goal line where was the first down, I believe. Mahomes threw an incompletion. I think second down might have been a draw play where they got like 5 or 6 yards. And this is all, I think this is like under 30 seconds or so. But the biggest decision was, it was a fourth down play, I believe, and it was like less than 10 seconds. So the decision was go into the locker room, kick the field goal, go into the locker room 24-10, or go for it, try to get a touchdown, go up 28-10, and kind of feel like you put the Bengals out of reach at that point. So I think the play before, Mahomes killed it, just threw it into the ground because he didn't like what he saw. And, they brought in another play. The play call was a bit of a head scratcher because, they were on like the 4-5 yard line. And when you're that close to the end zone, the Bengals defense is already closer to the line because there's not that much room behind you to position players. So for them to throw like a quick wide receiver screen to Tyreek Hill and then expect him to make moves with the defense collapsing on him, it made no sense of a play call. And then because of that, they didn't get any points on the trip. So Cincinnati went into the locker room, feeling good about themselves because it was only 21-10 at that point, when it could have been 28-10 or 24-10. Now, coming out of the locker room, the Bengals look like a team that really feels like they have a chance. They go on to outscore the Chiefs in the third quarter, 11-0. So now they're right back in the game. At this point, it is 21-21. So you have a brand new ball game. The Chiefs made the crucial mistake of letting a young, inexperienced Bengals team hang around, and now the Bengals started to get more confident. Burrow, you could see, was starting to figure things out. So at that point, you knew in for another wild finish. Only thing was this going to be another overtime game? So the fourth quarter, get there. Both teams play to a stalemate of field goal each. And of course, as fate would have it, we get another overtime game with the Chiefs. So now we all know, because of the Bills-Chiefs game, a lot of people have been watching overtime closely. Which, side note, the people out there who say the overtime rules need to change need to be quiet. Because it's a dumb argument. The overtime rules as they are perfect. The old rule, where it was field goal wins it, yes, that rule needed to change. But this one, where you get the ball first, if you score a field goal, the other team gets the ball. That's fair for both sides. Because all the defending team in overtime has to do is, they don't even have to turn the ball over or anything. Just hold the team to a field goal. That's it. Get your offense on the field. Give them a chance to, get a touchdown to win it. Field goal to tie it, and then it becomes sudden death at that point. So I've heard some people say, the rule needs to change because if Team A gets the ball first, scores a touchdown, then Team B should get the opportunity to try to match the touchdown. Which, my issue with that is, if you do that, then if Team A gets the ball again, scores a touchdown, what happens? Does it just end? And then if that's the case, that's basically the same as the rule is now. Because I'm assuming in that case, they're going to want Team B to get the ball again to try to match the touchdown and keep going back and forth. As cool as that sounds, issue is you're just exposing players more and more to injury. Because you get a couple of possessions like that in overtime going, and pretty much everybody's going to be gassed, and the quality of play, I believe at that point, will get to a point where it's just not as unwatchable, but you'll easily tell that both teams will be compromised. So that's one. Two, I actually heard a couple people say, what about the college system? I do not want to see the college system in the NFL because college, let me see, how does it go? I believe each team gets it on the opposing 25, and you get, you play from there, look to score. So, problem with I have with college is, they want to start with 25, whatever. But something that I didn't even know was a change to the rule. It was something I think I saw in a bowl game. No, not a bowl game. It was the Alabama-Auburn game, I think. That went to overtime. And then both teams kept scoring from the 25. And then it turned into a 2-point conversion contest where instead of starting at the 25, they started each team at like the 3, and they got one play to score or something like that. If they brought that to the NFL, that'd be the worst decision ever. Because that just turns it into some kind of gimmick where that's not even football anymore. So I definitely don't want to see that. So if someone can come up with a better situation, the only thing I guess I would listen to is if the first team scores a touchdown, you want to give the ball to the other team to try to match it. And then after that, it goes to sudden death, I guess. That's the only change I'm willing to listen to. But enough about that rant. Back to Bengals Chiefs. So this game goes to overtime. And ultimately, the Bengals, pull off the upset. Chiefs get the ball. They get the ball first. Their drive pretty much stalls. It led to them on third down. Mahomes threw an ill-advised pass down the left sideline in the double coverage that the Bengals pick off. So then at that point, the Bengals just needed a field goal to win. So they played for the field goal, got it from Evan McPherson, he's been, basically had ice water in his veins throughout this playoff run. They get the field goal, get the win. Joe Burrow becomes a nationwide hero because, there's a large section of fans that did not want to see the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl. So we get the Bengals. We get a fresh, new, young team. Fine. It definitely establishes Joe Burrow as maybe the best young quarterback in the league. I don't know. That depends on your definition of a young quarterback because I believe if you go, if you did it under, 26 or something, you're looking at, Mahomes, Jackson, Josh Allen, whatever. But if you take it as first, second, third year quarterbacks, then Burrow's probably number one. Now, what I've been saying, I guess each game along the way, will the Bengals, have a situation where they show, their inexperience? So far, they've passed each test for me, but now the biggest test is going to come, like I said, in a week and a half when it's the Super Bowl, and that stage is going to be bigger than any of the players the Bengals could think of. So, like I said, wait a little bit to dissect the Super Bowl, but congratulations to the Bengals. Those have been crazy run of futility for them. Through the Marvin Lewis years where, Marvin Lewis got into playoffs a few times, but they were never, in a situation like this going to the Super Bowl. And then even post Marvin Lewis, just looking at their coach now, Zach Taylor, there was a lot of talk coming into this year that Zach Taylor could be on the hot seat, and if the Bengals didn't do well, he was probably going to be gone. Well, he's proven all those people wrong because they're now sitting here waiting to see, they know who they're going to play, but just for, our sake, waiting to see who's going to, be waiting for them at SoFi Stadium in the Super Bowl. So, quick narrative that I was talking about before coming out of this game is this whole thing about, Patrick Mahomes is baby GOAT. People talking about how the Chiefs would be unbeatable after they won their first ring. They were expecting them to go on like a Patriot-like run with 3 and 4 years and that kind of stuff. Obviously, that talk needs to be shelved for now because, like I said, 4 straight AFC title games. He's now 2-2 in those 4 games, and the 2 losses being at home in Kansas City, being the favorite. You know, they lost to New England, which, okay. But now you have this loss to the Bengals. Yeah, the baby goat stuff, no, we don't need any of that right now. Because to try to compare Mahomes this early in his career to the guy in Brady who, you know, won 7, went to 10. These analysts and stuff in the media, they need to stop doing this to these players where, you know, they show some success early and they just jump off the deep end, putting all these superlatives and all that to them. Let these players prove it. Because now we've been going with this baby goat stuff with Mahomes. What if Mahomes turns out to be, I guess, like an Aaron Rodgers type, where, yeah, he has some playoff experiences sprinkled in, but just has the one Super Bowl. And for Mahomes, he got that so early in his career that if he plays 15, 20 years, it's going to be a while between, you know, playoff experiences and the end of his career. So if his career plays out like that, obviously nobody would be calling him a GOAT at that point. So wait a little bit. Wait till he gets, you know, 3 rings or something, and then you want to start bringing up the conversation. Fine. But, I mean, looking at it, let's say Burrow and the Bengals win the Super Bowl. Burrow at that point would have as many rings as Patrick Mahomes. So now what is Burrow now the new baby goat? Come on. They need to just chill out. You know, there's nothing wrong with living in the present. Stop trying to predict the future. So, all right. So the Bengals make up the first half of the Super Bowl. Go ahead, take a look at the second game from this past weekend. The Rams, 49ers, same kind of situation going into the game. You know, a lot of people were looking at the Rams as the favorite in this one. Niners, the Cinderella team of the NFC, you know, getting through the Cowboys, the Packers, and now facing the Rams, NFC title game. So, with the Bengals getting it from the AFC, that's your 4 seed. Rams, Niners are the 4 and the 6 seed from the NFC. So that means no number 1 seeds who had the bye made it to the Super Bowl. None of the number 2s or either number 3 has made it. And if the Niners win, you'll have a matchup of the 4 seed AFC versus the 6 seed in the NFC. So it was a crazy regular season. The playoffs have been just as wild. But in this game, it was I don't know, it was a little bit more of a defensive struggle in the beginning. Both teams, you know, ended the first quarter scoreless. Second quarter, we saw a little bit more action. The Niners win the second quarter 10-7. So going into halftime up 10-7, it's looking like, you know what, this might happen. We might get Niners, Bengals, Niners for the third straight week, upsetting, you know, another NFC team. And I think the little nugget was put out there, I believe last week, that it's, I think, the 40, not 40th. Has it been 40 years? Something like that, like the 40th anniversary of the Bengals Niners Super Bowl or something like that. I don't know. Maybe 30-year anniversary or something like that. But it was some anniversary year for it. So maybe we're going to get that matchup. But you know, it was only halftime at that point. Then third quarter happens. The Niners put up another score, make it 17-7, and it's starting to look like, okay, you know, Matt Stafford, you know, he made it to the NFC title game, took a step back. 49ers seem like they're playing not only smart, but, you know, sound football, and they were going to ride that into the Super Bowl. But then it falls apart in the fourth quarter. I don't know what happened, but somewhere between the end of the third and the start of the fourth, you know, the Niners turned the switch off. Rams flipped it on. Now we start seeing, you know, Stafford completing passes to Beckham, Cup. They're starting to move the ball down the field. Then they're putting points on the board. And ultimately, it came down to, you know, the Niners having the ball late, not being able to do anything with it, punting the ball, hoping to get to, you know, overtime to kind of reset everything, catch their breath, regroup. But the Rams drive the ball late, get in the field goal range, kick a field goal as time runs out, and they move on. So now we have Rams, Bengals in the Super Bowl, but kind of the story that I'm looking at coming out of the NFC game is, what did the 49ers do with Jimmy G at this point? So, you know, they go out, they get Jimmy G because they needed a quarterback, made sense, and it looked like a great fit. But the 49ers have concerns, injury and all that kind of stuff. They draft Trey Lance. Problem is, Trey Lance has been sitting around now for, was it 3 years? So they basically come out and say, Trey Lance going to be their starting quarterback next year. Because I'm pretty sure they weren't thinking that this team was going to be in this kind of position. So, you know, you put that out there. Garoppolo's with the understanding. This is last year in San Francisco. But now you play out the year. You get into the playoffs. You win a couple of big games in the playoffs. You're in the NFC title game. You lose a close one to a, you know, high-powered Rams team. Do you stick with the plan? Move Garoppolo, turn it over to Trey Lance. You know, you deal with the you know, the bumps in the road for next year. Hopefully you don't have as many since he's been around a little bit, but you know it's going to be a step back for the organization. Do you go with the bold move and try to run it back with Garoppolo? Maybe gauge Trey Lance's trade value and kind of do it that way, and then draft another young guy to sit behind the Garoppolo for another year or two. I'm assuming they're going to go the Trey Lance route because, you know, even though they were able to win 2 games in the playoffs, Garoppolo wasn't exactly outstanding with his performance. So I think he left enough doubt in management's mind to, you know, feel okay going with Trey Lance and then moving him. Now, in looking to move Garoppolo said if he does get traded, he wants to go to a winning situation. That's where it gets a little tricky because you also have the situation with Aaron Rodgers sitting out there. So let's say Rodgers goes back to Green Bay. Then I think San Francisco, wide open to do whatever they want. Because we know Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. Denver needs a quarterback. Are those just the 2 teams that come to mind that I guess you could say are in win now type of mode? Yeah, I mean, you look at maybe the Raiders. if Carr doesn't go back there. Let's just take those three situations for now. Now, let's say Aaron Rodgers takes one of those spots. I don't know. I know he's been linked to Denver if he does leave. But we know I guess the Raiders would try to get in on it, but one of those spots goes. Now you have two spots open where you can try to negotiate Garoppolo going there. But that's not to say other names won't pop up. How about Matt Ryan in Atlanta? Does he become available? It's a lot of variables, but I'm assuming Garoppolo played his last game for the Niners. Like I said, up and down tenure there. If he does go to a winning situation, the biggest thing with him is going to have to be staying on the field. But the Niners, Trey Lance could hit the ground running, show some improvement. The 49ers could be a team to reckon with next year. So, interesting to see what happens there in the offseason. Like I said, now we have Rams, Bengals, Super Bowl. But we'll talk about that next week as we get closer to the game. So, like I said, congratulations to the Rams. Rams, will be in the Super Bowl, which is in their home stadium. So, second year in a row, the hosting stadium for the Super Bowl will have its team represented in the Super Bowl. There we go. So the Bucs did it last year, won it in their home stadium. Is that a sign for this year with the Rams? Is this like the new trend now? Who knows? But let's see one last thing. I guess quickly with the Rams, Stafford showed with the pressure of the Rams wanting to be a Super Bowl team, he could perform well enough. I know I talked about that several weeks with the Rams, but hey, he proved me wrong. And other doubters as well. But like I said, come next week, we'll break down more with the Rams and Bengals. So with that, I think it's a good enough spot to end this right now. So hopefully you liked this episode. Go ahead and hit like, subscribe, share the episode with a friend. Try to build a community, bring in some more listeners, and leave a comment, review. You can let me know, what do you think about the Garoppolo situation? What would you do if you were running the 49ers? And what do you think the loss of the Bengals does to the overall, outlook of Patrick Mahomes and how good his start to his career has been? So let me know that. And you can also let me know who you think's going to win between the Rams and the Bengals in the Super Bowl. So thanks again. Like I said, tell some people who are trying to get into sports or are big sports fans about the podcast. Let them know. Let them know what you like about it. But as I always say at the end of these episodes, be safe out there. God bless. I'll catch you next episode. All right, I'm out.